Steve Galair, and you're very welcome to this month's blog. And I was asked to do a Q&A about three different areas today, which I thought were kind of a bit juicy to get started with. So the first question was about oracle cards and about them and to explain, etc., and what kind of oracle decks to buy. Second question was about the differences between psychics and mediums, as there's some confusion, so no problem. And the third was about signs from loved ones in spirit. Okay, so getting started. Oracle cards, it's a massive industry, a massive market industry. And when I started about 20 years ago, you were lucky if you had 2 or 3 decks of cards. Tarot is a very different set of divination, whereas oracle cards, there'd just be about between 44 cards right up to say 56, which is, you can see the different sizes in some of the decks. Doreen Virtue will probably be the most well-known person out there who is doing cards, etc. and she really started to come out about 15 years ago with her decks, and they're fantastic decks for beginners. And a lot of people say, Fiona, which deck would you recommend? Now here's the thing, it's a very, very personal decision about buying an oracle deck. They're brilliant for guidance, for divination, for helping you come to a decision. But I really feel as if you have to get a feel of it, you know. So the sad thing about that is that, you know, a lot of the new age shops, etc., don't have decks open on display, etc. So you really have to kind of go towards what the colour and the packaging that you're drawn towards. There's a lot of great forums out there. The Eclectic Tarot Forum, I will put the link in the box beneath, is brilliant because they do reviews from oracle decks and tarot decks from all around the world. So it's a fantastic one to check out. But I basically believe you really should be drawn towards it. Now, another thing I'm asked is that should someone buy it, that it's very unlucky for you to buy your own oracle deck. I'd be out of business if I was waiting for people to buy me a card deck. And again, I'm a big believer we make our own luck in this life. So again, trust your gut. See, sometimes people, when they're using their, you know, your left side just connected to your heart, they'll run their hand over, you know, just to feel an energy or pocket of energy when they're choosing a deck. Or some people will just automatically be drawn towards it, okay? Or it may come up in conversation. Again, your guides, your team are trying to help you develop spiritually also as well. So the universe around will conspire to help you as well in choosing. You could ask your angels, your guides too. There are many oracle decks. So there's many angel decks that are about at the moment. And again, as I say, Doreen Virtue, there's a lovely one, an angel therapy one that is quite popular. My favorite oracle deck is the one I read with, and that's the Energy Oracle. That's by Sandra Ann Taylor. That's this deck here. It's a lovely one, and I find it's a great combination. Another one I tend to read with is the Romance Angels, which again for love, relationships, etc. If you've a particular need or an area, well then I would zoom in on that. Again, Lucy Cavendish and Selena Fenwick, it's just the pictures. The illustration in this deck is beautiful. Lucy Cavendish is an Australian white witch, and Selena Fenwick is a very talented artist. And together, it's just a pleasure to look at these cards. Another one by Colette Baron Reid. Again, a fantastic psychic and a medium, and again, beautiful cards and fantastically illustrated. So again, as you're reading, it's a pleasure to turn these cards. Now, with using an oracle deck, when you first get a deck of cards, the first thing I do is I tend to hold it in my left hand and I tend to knock once. This disperses any energy that is gathered during the production of them, etc. And you're also just clearing that out of the way. You can also just run this card all along the incense. Again, that's just another way of clearing, or when you're using them, you can cleanse it. Someone also asked me, is it unlucky for someone else to handle your cards? Again, I go back into what does it feel like to you. So you can see all these beautiful ornate boxes. I tend to keep my cards in boxes. I tend to wrap them. They're my tools. So I take care of them like any artist will take care of their tools that they work with. Again, it is a personal thing. I really don't mind people handling my cards because I'm very careful about cleansing them, etc. and that. So that doesn't tend to worry me. Anyway, another way is that to just touch every single card when you open a deck after you've cleansed it. And just to get your feel, so you're placing your energy into the oracle deck also too as well, or you're actually just placing the deck if you fan it out, and there's quite a good few cards in this, but placing it over your heart center and invoking your own team, your angels, your spirit guides, in order to help and guide you with the answers that you need to seek within your life also too as well. So that's just consecrating, opening your deck and working with it also too. It's lovely, and it's really a lovely kind of, I was for so many years of my life, my oracle decks would have been something very private for me before I had ever told anyone that I was developing my abilities and that. So they got me through a lot of life's questions, etc. And I found that they threw questions back at me also too as well, and shed a light in areas that I hadn't really looked at. So they're just a fantastic tool also too. Anyone can use them. It's not an issue if you're pregnant or anything like that. The oracle decks are very gentle. There's never any pictures in them that I would find disturbing. So I feel, over the ages of 18, and I say 18 because anything under 18 you're a minor, and you would need permission from a parent, but from 18 upwards I feel you can make your own decisions at that point. But again, a lovely way to work and connect with your own team and spirit guides, and I wish you luck. Any more questions, again, fill in the box beneath. The second question that I was asked was, what is the difference between psychics and mediums? Well, here's the thing. I believe we're all psychic. And so I believe, a mother's intuition is probably one of the most common known things. A gut feeling when you meet somebody after about 5 seconds, whether you like them, whether you don't like them, I do believe when our pain drops and it becomes wisdom and we allow it to become wisdom, our gut is telling us not to do this, not to go there. And the gut drops to here, hence why we say our gut feeling, etc. If something doesn't sit with us, if it feels wrong, etc. So to every level there's psychic, but psychic really is about divination, about the person that's in front of you, okay? So that's the individual psychically picking up information about another person's energy field. So it's direct, okay? Now, that's where the term fortune teller came, and it's a term that I don't like because it's not how I work, etc. But again, medium is the term, the bridge between the living and the dead and the deceased, etc. Us mediums don't like to say the dead or deceased because we believe our soul is eternal and we live on forever. So a medium connects with the sitter's loved ones in spirit, so connects up with them also as well. Now again, the abilities within mediumship are very broad and wide, and you have clairsentience, which is clear feeling, clairaudience, which is clear hearing, clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, and then the clairalience and clairgustance, which is clear tasting and clear smelling also too as well. Claircognizance is also to do with clear knowing. Now I know that sounds like a massive mouthful, but all mediums are like snowflakes. So no two mediums are the same. So they blend with spirit differently. So a very strong clairvoyant medium will get images in their head. They'll see things. They may have a memory link. And so that's very strong. They're seeing clairvoyance, okay? Very strong clairsentience, which is what I am, is I feel. So I feel it in my body. So I feel it where in the body a person has passed, their personality. I'm getting very happy. My energy's rising. So I'm getting that animated feeling of that gorgeous person that's blending with me through spirit. So clairsentient deals with emotions and feelings. Clairaudiently, the medium may hear songs. They may hear names. They may hear numbers, etc. But it's the hearing and the cognate thing, which is also to do with music, etc. So they may be able to give a song around that person too as well. The clairalience and clairgustance kind of work hand in hand. So that medium will get smells or tastes. So they may smell smoke, they may taste tobacco, etc., which really brings a beautiful depth to the reading and the sitting. Claircognizance is clear knowing, and that's one of the most frustrating abilities to develop because it very much focuses on, I just know. And so again, with your gut feeling, this person may just know a person would have died very traumatically or suddenly, or they may just know this information about a person. So that is something that tends to be developed alongside the other abilities and blends in with that also too as well. So psychic is about you and is about tuning into the person across from you, the person that is living and physically, and being able to tell them differences about them and the guidance in their lives. You can be psychic without being a medium, okay? That's, as I said to you earlier about the fortune teller reference, okay? Whereas all mediums are psychic. All mediums are psychic, because if you can connect to spirit, you sure as hell can connect to the person in front of you also too as well, okay? And you may get some mediums that work with cards. You may get some mediums that just choose not to and just would sit like I would and just connect with a person. For me, I use oracle cards when I'm doing a psychic reading. And so a lot of my clients would be used to, if I'm doing mediumship, I do not use them at all. And then if I'm moving into a psychic reading, then I get the cards. It's a nice kind of a separation between the two. And I also feel it just has that line of what is from spirit and what is just psychically from myself, the psychic, to you, and what I'm picking up in your energy field also too as well. So I hope that clears up any confusion. Again, when you're looking to choose a psychic or a medium, again, I go by word of mouth and I go by your gut feeling. It is an unregulated industry, so unfortunately anybody with a deck of cards can set up and call themselves a psychic or a medium for that matter. So again, I would really say word of mouth is the really very best form of recommendation, to trust your gut, to see if you're guided. And I don't care if the whole world, as Mrs. says, this person is brilliant. If it's not for you, you'll feel it. So trust that, please, and honor that decision also too as well. Well, the next question I have been given has been about how do we get signs from our loved ones in spirit. And it's one of my favourite aspects, because as a medium, it's my absolute pleasure to tell people every day of how their loved ones are communicating. And sometimes it's so simple and it's so almost normal, and that's the thing. Spirit will use everyday things around us. It's not going to be like the sixth sense, where that person will appear right in front of you. For God's sake, I wouldn't be in this profession if I was going to have the absolute crap scared out of me. But what it really is about is a familiar smell. You may see that beautiful wee robin on the window, the rainbow, the feather. You may hear that song, which is just as you're thinking about them. I don't believe in coincidences. I'm a big believer in synchronicities and people who come into our lives for a reason, and things that happen in our lives for a reason. So it's always around a time of need. You may have asked for this sign. You may literally have just thought about them. You may be driving and just thinking, I just wish you were here with me, and the song comes on the radio. That's what happens, and in your heart. There are a lot of people that just don't believe in mediumship, and that's okay. It would be a very boring world if we were all the same. But for those who believe, no proof is necessary, and those who don't, none is ever enough. So please trust your gut, because in your heart when your loved one is trying to make themselves through. It can be the butterfly, it can be just that feeling of presence. And also our loved ones can appear to us in dreams, and it can be as real as me here talking to you right now. And years later you can say word for word what happened in that dream, because a dream you'll forget, but when it's a true visitation from spirit, it always feels profound. The difference between that and a regular dream is, well, number one, you'll forget, and number two, years later you will have a recollection of those events. Some people have some frightening and scary dreams. I never believe that's spirit. I believe that's just the ego trying to make sense of the bereavement process. So if you do find you get some very frightening dreams, I would definitely discuss therapy, etc., or a bereavement counsellor to help you with that. I'm also asked when's the right time for a reading. Well, I also believe you shouldn't go for reading for any more than any time of a 6-month time frame, to allow things to happen in your life, but also to stop dependence on readings. Us mediums, we're not doctors, we're not lawyers, we're not counsellors, and neither should we be used or treated in that aspect either. We're here to help you, sometimes to refer you to those places where you need to go, but ultimately to give you guidance in your life also too as well. So I hope that helps. Again, any questions you have for further Q&As, please subscribe beneath and just fill out the comment section there beneath. Again, more information can be found on my website, www.fionafaery.ie, or you can join us on Facebook also too as well. Gurmila Marcus, and I look forward to seeing you all again.